Good afternoon. It's Friday, March 15. I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching online at onespotmedia.com. The two candidates for the April 4 by-election in Portland Eastern have been nominated. Both the Jamaica Labour Party and the People's National Party's candidates were nominated this morning. Our reporter Dwayne Anderson is in Portland covering Nomination Day activities and now joins us live. Dwayne, can you give us an idea of what's been happening in East Portland? And we'll have to get back to Dwayne Anderson in a minute. He is in Portland covering the nomination. As you can see now, that's the JLP's candidate Anne-Marie Vaz being nominated, and earlier, Damian Crawford was nominated. In other news, there are more calls for a state of emergency, SOE, to be reinstated in St. James. Many persons in the parish fear crime, including murder, will continue to escalate without it.
What we have seen happen a couple of days ago, it frightens the hell out of people.
Mayor of Montego Bay, Homer Davis, speaking of the crime situation in St. James since the SOE expired in January. There have been several shootings, including a brazen daylight robbery on Jarrett Street, which left 2 people, including a security guard, dead, and a business operator losing millions. At the recent municipal corporation meeting, Mayor Davis said residents have been telling him that they still support the SOE.
And not only the people of St. James supported it, there was a recently commissioned Don Anderson poll which revealed that 90% of Jamaicans supported the government's imposition of the state of emergency in St. James, St. Catherine North, and in Kingston. And at the same time, 81% believe that the state of emergency has been effective in fighting crime.
In last Sunday's robbery, gunmen with high-powered weapons blocked the path of a Hawkeye security vehicle which was escorting a business operator with millions of dollars and opened fire on them. Mayor Davis says with what has been happening recently, fear is once again gripping residents and business operators.
A number of them have echoed the sentiment that we should reinstate the state of emergency. It's a very popular opinion out there because they saw what occurred during that 12-month period. And as a result of that, they are prepared to give up some of their own rights in order to protect life and property.
The opposition, in withdrawing their support for the SOE, have suggested that more zones of special operations, ZOSOs, should be used in its place. Herman Green, TVJ News. And as we said earlier, both candidates for the by-election in Portland Eastern have been nominated, and our reporter Dwayne Anderson is in Portland covering Nomination Day activities. Dwayne, what can you tell us? What has been happening so far? Dwayne, can you give us an update on what's happening so far in East Portland? And we're still having some technical difficulties there getting through to Dwayne. He is covering Nomination Day activities. As you can see, both PNP and JLP supporters are there for their candidates. And we will try and get back to Dwayne before the end of the newscast. Workers from the Monimus sugar factory in Clarendon are growing restless due to the non-payment of money promised to them by the government. But amidst their frustration is a war of words between 2 politicians who are close to the situation. We have more in this report.
Agriculture Audley Shaw told the workers at a meeting last month that the cabinet had approved a compensation package worth up to $100 million for them. That payment, he explained, would be forthcoming in March. But 2 weeks into the month, the workers say they are yet to receive the money. The workers met on Wednesday to discuss their next move.
I know when the money are going to run, when you are going to pay, if you're not going to pay none. Because we don't have no problem to get no money from you. We have a problem to work. and you say no work, and you give her a promise. He promise was never fulfilled. And we don't know when it's going to fulfill, and that is our problem. We want to know when it's going to fulfill. We're not saying nothing wrong, because a promise is good for everybody. So before the money come through, I don't have anything to say. I need to know the date, because the kids them not going to school. Okay? Later for the house them now. So what you going to do? Because them plan to take away house them now, you know.
When contacted, Mr. Shaw said the first set of payments will be made this week. He also criticized the PNP's caretaker candidate in Clarendon Southeastern, Patricia Duncan Sutherland, for what he calls political mischief. He claims she is trying to get the workers agitated. Mrs. Duncan Sutherland, in response, said she's not playing politics and is only looking out for the people. She added that she actually called the meeting Wednesday and asked the workers to express their grouses via the media instead of demonstrating.
Let us say they didn't want to have a committee meeting. They just want to talk to you directly. Yes, because they could. Because they have the full list of workers. All right? This is not a secret. It's not top secret. And we have heard nothing. In this respect, it's really something else. And we really want to just register the protest before the protests have to go to a different level.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Access granted. A swing bridge which collapsed years ago has finally been restored, reconnecting several Portland communities. But while the residents are relieved, they say the poor condition of the roads in another area needs to be addressed. TVJ's O'Shane Masters has the details. And we'll get back to that story in a minute. We now have Dwayne live, I believe. Dwayne, can you hear me? Our reporter Dwayne Anderson is in Portland Eastern covering by-election activities. Dwayne, can you give us an update on what's happening there?
Hello?
Yes, Dwayne, can you hear me?
Herman?
Yes. We are now live. Can you give us an update on what's happening in nomination day activities since morning?
Thank you so much, Herman. So I'm here at the Port Antonio Courthouse in Portland. And just a short time ago, Anne-Marie Vaz was duly nominated as the Jamaica Labour Party candidate for the East Portland seat. She was accompanied through the process by the Jamaica Labour Party leader and Prime Minister Andrew Holness, as well as her husband, Darren Vaz, who is also the Member of Parliament for West Portland. No complaints from the persons involved. All the paperwork checked out. She paid her nomination fee and she was off. I tried as best as I could to get a comment from Ms. Vaz, but she was not answering too many questions from the media. All she said was that she was trying to enjoy the process as the first woman to compete on the ticket for the Jamaica Labour Party here, and she just wanted to enjoy her day. She would not comment on the question I asked, in particular about whether she will sign the political code of conduct for the parties involved here if Damian Crawford does not apologize for his comments, which said something to the effect that her feeling in terms of achievement would be to stay as the wife of Darrell Vaz. Now, earlier, Damian Crawford, he was duly nominated. He was accompanied by the leader of the opposition and PNP president, Dr. Peter Phillips, as well as Andrea Moore. Now, persons following the election day exercise would understand why it is important for optics and unity for Andrea Moore to be a part of the exercise involving Damian Crawford. I asked about his agriculture policy, in particular the policy about goats, to giving goats to young persons to start business. She said she lives here in the parish and she supports it because persons here would be very happy to get a goat or two to start life, as she put it. Damian Crawford, on the other hand, when I spoke to him, said that he will not apologize for his comments towards Ms. Vaz, and he would just continue to nominate to campaign and lobby for the persons' votes here, to try to represent them as best as we could. Now, earlier, in terms of the fever pitch activity, in terms of party campaigning and party excitement, I can tell you, Herman, it is fever pitch on the streets of Port Antonio. I'm talking about hundreds of persons lining the streets. It was so exciting. I spotted even Darrell Vaz the West Portland MP earlier on a motorcycle, driving a motorcycle. The bike that persons in the streets called the Yang motorcycles. He was leading a line of JLP supporters up to their headquarters before they started their march down. So it is fever picture, business, school, everything has come to a halt for basically today. Persons are outside trying to get a glimpse of the excitement on what's happening. I can tell you, though, that there has been no report of any violence or skirmishes or clashes, so that's good. But as soon as anything else develops, I'll be sure to get back in touch with the newsroom. So until then, it is back to you, Herman.
Okay, thank you very much. Our reporter, Dwayne Anderson, reporting live from Portland Eastern. We go on to news just in. The Supreme Court a short while ago ordered that Corporal Arlene McBean is to be immediately reinstated as chairman of the Jamaica Police Federation after she was removed from the post in January. The police corporal and her attorney, Hugh Wildman, had brought an ex parte notice of application for a mandatory injunction in the Supreme Court on February 18, seeking to have the corporal returned as chairman. Ms. McBean alleged that she was unconstitutionally removed from her post in January after she was elected last May to serve as chairman for a year on the provisions provided by the Jamaica Constabulary Force Act. And back to a story we introduced earlier. A swing bridge which collapsed years ago has finally been restored, reconnecting several Portland communities. But while the residents are relieved, they say the poor condition of the roads in another area needs to be addressed. More in this report.
It's official. Residents in 5 communities in Portland no longer have to walk in the river to get to their destination. A new swing bridge has been erected and open to connect Castle, Moortown, Ginger House, Millbank and Cornwall Barracks, and the residents couldn't be happier.
I am happy and glad because my grandson will go to and fro him alone. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Right now, I come from Windsor on a project we do, and we can easily walk across. We don't take off my shoes again, because I don't like to take off my shoes when I go across water, you know. So I'm glad that the bridge come back.
We come from Comfort Castle and reaching a barrack, so we appreciate the bridge. At least enough promises, but it's there now, so we give thanks.
Overwhelming, no, because see there, we have come across the one. I reach, we have got destination without have to take off our shoes or our slippers. Socks and slippers are beat.
The previous bridge collapsed in April 2016 after weeks of heavy rain. Without the bridge, it was difficult for some family members to see their relatives in the neighboring communities. Farmers who struggled with transporting their produce with this structure are also expressing gratitude.
It's more while if you go across the river there, if you go look at my farm and my animal them, can't get no time because the river come down, and June 2 the river come down, we have to swim it, and a dangerous risk that, so we're glad for the bridge, see it.
Everybody love to know, so the bridge come back because we can visit the community as we want now. Can the funeral go and people can easily go to funeral on the 2 sides because it's a bypass for the whole entire valley.
But while many are grateful for the new bridge, for others, it's a bittersweet moment. One resident, Damar Faley, says the roads in the community are poor and that's the next project that needs to be addressed.
Right now we are waiting on the road in a Comfort Castle, from down a valley to up in a Millbank. Yeah man, we want that right now.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Please join us at 7 for the primetime news package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.